not talking about that today, though. We're not talking about the terrible NFC
Exactly.
East. We should never be talking about them in reality until Dak Prescott gets a contract. Then we can talk about them. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Offhand. Today, we are keeping our promises here. We are keeping our promises. Last video, I mentioned the only way we're going to talk about the NFC East on here is if Dak Prescott signs a new contract. And he has signed a new contract. It's a big contract. So we're going to get into that. But first, my name is Andy. The man to my right is Chayeb. The man at the bottom of the screen, brought back by popular demand. I'm not Steven. He is with us today because Steven, the real Steven, could not be with us. So he's going to miss out on this conversation. But Chayeb, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Feeling good.
You feeling good? You ready to talk some NFC East?
Oh, yes.
It's gonna be fun, but let's talk about Dak Prescott first. The Dak Prescott deal. So he signed a 4-year deal worth 160 million, 126 million guaranteed. So that's about 40 million a year. Quick maths, baby. So that puts him at the second highest paid quarterback, first highest paid player on his team. I would imagine he didn't really have a season.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Chad, tell me your thoughts. Do you think that Dak Prescott is worth the money?
For about like 40 mil a year, I
40
would,
mil a year.
yeah. I don't think he's worth that much. I understand why they did it, but I don't agree with the amount. I understand that's because he was looking for that amount. He was looking to be a very high paid quarterback. Yeah, I don't see this being like
Yeah, 40
transformational or anything for them.
yeah, 40 million a year is a lot. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was last off season, Dak and Jerry Jones sat down and they were looking, well, Jerry Jones was looking to do a deal of 4 years, 100 million.
Mm.
So that would have been pretty good. Maybe 120 million. That would have been cool too. About 30 million a year. He's probably worth that more or less, I think. But with Dak Prescott getting injured this past season, only playing 5 games, and the Cowboys falling to 6-10, third in this division, it definitely shows Dak Prescott's worth. And is he worth that extra 60 million? Maybe not in the grand scheme of things, but it definitely shows that Andy Dalton cannot be relied on. Or what's the other guy's name? What's the
I don't
third? I
I
think it's
don't
like
even
Nikuchi or something like
Yeah, I
that.
don't even remember who their third string was when
Yeah,
that
he actually
happened.
played though, which is also a problem.
Yeah,
And I don't think they'd really want to get involved in the whole quarterback market and trying to bring somebody in. I think Dak Prescott was their guy. I'm glad they brought him in. And I'm not even a big Dak Prescott guy. I didn't really like him that much coming out of college personally. I'll definitely state that. But I'm glad to see him develop and see that he's become a really good quarterback in the league. Do you want to rank the division now that Dak Prescott is there?
sure.
All
So
right.
for like next season, right?
Yeah, next season. So like what do you think all 4 teams in the NFC East, just to state real quick, there's the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Washington football team as they are
Yes.
named at the moment. See if that changes. It doesn't look
Hopefully.
like it might not ever change, which would just
Well,
be
let's hope.
terrible. It's such a bad name. The jerseys are kind of nice. They're starting to grow on me. I'm not gonna lie. The Washington football jerseys are starting to grow on me a little bit, but I hope they change their name because I would like to refer to them as an actual
Team.
team instead of just Washington, especially when there's a team in Washington State called the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back on topic. So rank me the NFC East.
So right now with Dak being signed and hopefully he stays healthy, I'd probably put the Cowboys in the first spot. The only way that would change is if Washington can boost their offense. If they are able to do that, then I would put Washington first and then Cowboys second, just because of how dominant the Washington football team's defense was this past year, which really surprised me on how good they were, being like fourth in allowing points and second in allowing yards.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
No, it's pretty wild how good of a defense they had this past season,
Yeah.
especially with Chase Young being like the anchor of it as a rookie.
Hmm.
Incredible, incredible talent that he's going to be in this league.
Yeah,
So
so so depending on how those two teams do on the offensive side of the ball, again, the Cowboys staying healthy and Washington hopefully upgrading their team on offense,
mhm,
then it would probably be Giants because they're getting Saquon back. So they'll be third, pretty solid for sure. And then the Eagles,
okay.
I'm very iffy on, and they'll be. I think they might have a pretty early first round pick next year.
That's very valid. As the Eagles have lost Carson Wentz, they're not fully sure, seems like, what they're going to do at quarterback. Right now, it seems like Jalen Hurts is the answer, but we don't know if that's the final answer for
Mm,
the Eagles going into next season. All right, how would I rank them? Cowboys, obviously, going to be a number one. They were third in the division this past season, but Dak Prescott is not going to let that happen. They had a very mediocre offense, 17th in points, 14th in yards. Dak Prescott definitely boosts both those up. And I would dare say they're probably going to be like top 10 in both next year. I would say Ezekiel Elliott didn't have a great season. Definitely a downgrade from last season where he had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns on 244 carries this season. And then last year he had 301 carries for 1,357 yards. So about a 400-yard difference and 6 less touchdowns
yeah.
this season. So Dak Prescott definitely opens up the running lane for a great and talented running back like Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys actually also had a pretty decent O line as well. They were mediocre with allowing 153 pressures overall this whole season. And in case you don't know what pressure means, is it's a sack, a quarterback gets hit, or a hurry, something like that. That happened 153 times for the Cowboys, putting them 13th in the league. So that's kind of nice that Dak Prescott will at least have an average O line with them.
Mm,
So definitely probably be a top tier offense. The scary thing is their defense towards the bottom of the league. Surprisingly, the worst defense in the division.
yeah.
28th in points, 23rd in yards. That's the thing that gets scary. It's probably the Cowboys offense versus the Cowboys defense on how far they actually go
Yeah, you could
this
probably
season.
say it's like the Falcons situation, how their
Yes.
offense was just doing great, but their defense just could not hold a game for them.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a problem even the Chiefs face on
Mm,
occasion where it's not necessarily is this team good enough? It's is this defense good enough from just stopping the other team and giving the offense a chance to breathe instead
mm,
of having to put up points all the time. But yeah, so I'm very confident still though in the Cowboys probably being number one in this division. Number two, I think I agree with you with putting Washington at two. They've actually bounced back. It sounds really funny to say in terms of offense because
mm.
25th in points, 30th in yards, but they had the 32nd offense last year overall. So definitely a slight improvement. Maybe Tyler Heineke, the GOAT. Maybe he creates a revolution over there and they
Yeah,
get something
maybe.
going. And they do better, but probably not much better. They were 7-9, win the division as a 7-9. Just terrible, but they probably go above 500. I think that's definitely reasonable with their stout defense, as you mentioned and you talked about. Uh, Third, I think third I'd go with the Eagles.
Okay.
So this is where we differ.
Mm,
Third I'd go with the Eagles. Fourth I'd go with the Giants because it's true. Saquon Barkley gives that Giants team an identity on offense
mm,
that obviously they did not have this year. They were 31st in points, 31st in yards. And in case you forgot, there's 32 teams in the NFL. So that is as close to the bottom of the barrel as you get for an offense. So I don't know if Saquon is really the answer there in terms of them doing better. They were 6-10. I imagine they're probably gonna do more or less the same next year. And before we recorded, you mentioned to me that Kevin Zeitler isn't going to be there next year. Neither is Cameron Fleming. So there goes their whole right side. So that doesn't help Saquon even. And that doesn't help Daniel Jones, who didn't have a good season. So it's just going to be terrible over there offensively. Defense is good. Defense is solid, but if you don't have an offense, if you can't put up points, if the other team just scores a field goal and it's 3-0, the other team wins.
Yeah.
That's how that works out. So that's why I kind of like the Eagles. The Eagles are a real wild card team. They were towards the bottom in a lot of stats. Their defense was towards the bottom, 20th and 19th, 20th in points, 19th in yards. Their offense was really bad, but I think that had a lot to do with just Carson Wentz. What do we do with Carson Wentz? This is Carson Wentz's first time playing with this team, really, as like the sole guy without having a backup like Nick Foles to kind of relieve him if something goes wrong. And then it seemed like they also wanted to play Jalen Hurts here and there because they used their second round pick on him. So it's like you can't just have that guy sit around. So it's a really weird offensive identity that they were trying to figure out as well.
Mm.
But I feel more confident in them figuring it out, that Jalen Hurts figures it out for them. And they get third in the division and they 100% do better than 4-11-1. Definitely do better than that. I could see them probably going 7-9, to be honest. That wouldn't surprise me because there's some dudes on that team. And I think Jalen Hurts, if Jalen Hurts proves himself that he's like a good, talented quarterback, which I think he is, they're going to do really well over there.
Mm.
Where do you think, though, the Cowboys end up at the end of the season? Because the rest of the league, especially the NFC, is a lot more competitive than
Oh yeah.
the NFC East.
Yeah, for
So where
sure.
are the Cowboys at the end of the season?
So I think they'll make it to the divisional round at the end of the season. They'll definitely have to play their wild card because I don't think that they're a good enough team. At least they haven't shown it to me that they could get a 1 or 2 seed to get that bye. So I think they can get into the wild card, but then also win that wild card game and get to the divisional round. But I don't see them going further than the divisional round.
Okay, so you think so? They play wild card weekend, they win wild card weekend, and then they lose to the divisional round.
Yeah, either the
That's
1 or 2 seed that they have to play.
that's fair. That's fair, and I don't blame you for thinking that. But as much as I hyped up Dak Prescott saying they're gonna have a top 10 offense, I think they actually lose in wild card weekend.
Yeah.
I think they actually lose wild card weekend, and it's not a detriment to them. And I would not be surprised in the slightest if they went past wildcard weekend and they went to where you're saying a divisional round, maybe lose the divisional round. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if they went past the divisional round and they're in the NFC championship. That wouldn't even
Mhm.
surprise me either. There's a very, very talented team. There's definitely pieces here that can make that happen. It's just a matter of does it happen, especially with Mike McCarthy, because this is gonna be Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott's first season together in reality now, right?
Yeah, because Dak didn't play he only
Yeah,
played
he only
five
played
games.
5 games last season.
Yeah.
So if everything goes right, their ceiling, I think, is probably the NFC championship game. I think that's 100% their ceiling. Um, but I think they end up losing wild card weekend just because there's so much other teams that are more talented and are more figured out, are more stronger in other areas. Like I think last week I even said the Cardinals are probably going to lose wild card weekend,
Mhm.
and the Cardinals are a really good team. Like if the Cardinals, actually, yeah, let's match that up. Cardinals Cowboys. Who do you have?
Do I think that the Cowboys offense could do anything to that Cardinals defense and this that?
And let's say they re-sign Hassan Reddick as well because he's a free agent.
Okay.
He's a
I'd
big part of their defense,
Damn, I think I would have to pick Cardinals.
right? That's what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's like the matchup that's there for them is really going to dictate what happens. And if a
Mhm.
team like the Cardinals is there, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be really, really, really tough. And even let's say the Cardinals don't get in the wild card because it's just such a good division, or let's say they do as well as the Seahawks. Seahawks Cowboys. Who do you have?
Ooh, there I think I would actually take the Cowboys.
I think I would take the Cowboys too, but that's going to be a tight game, I think, as well.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
that's not going to be an easy breezy game for the
No.
for the Cowboys down there. So that's what I mean. It's like I think they probably lose in the wild card and they don't go past it because there's just too many good teams in the NFC. Even the Saints and the Buccaneers, they're in the same division.
Mhm.
That's one of them is going to be in the wild card. And depending who the Saints get, who knows who they get, they still have a squad. They could also put some pressure on the Cowboys. They have a really good team.
Mhm.
So it's going to be really, really interesting when playoff time comes around, seeing where the Cowboys are at and what happens. It'd be really funny if somehow they have a bye, and then what I said is now just thrown completely out the window because you can't lose wild card weekend if you're
Yeah,
not
if you
playing
don't play.
wild card
Yeah.
weekend. But with that said, Dak Prescott's on a 4-year deal. Do the Cowboys win a Super Bowl within 4 years? Not is it possible? It's in the deck, of course, definitely possible. But a healthy Dak Prescott, does he lead the Cowboys to lifting up the Lombardi again?
I don't think so. If we're not gonna go off of like, oh, that there's potential for it, then I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't think
because
he's gonna.
there's
Yeah,
potential,
yeah,
but you could say there's potential for like 8 different teams in the NFC.
exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it would have to be that they upgrade really heavy on the defense, but yeah, if we're
It
basing it off of like their team right now, no,
Yeah,
I can't see Dak taking them to the Super Bowl
it's
or
it's
even
he
winning it.
probably has to have like an MVP caliber season
Yeah, like a Matt
for him
Ryan
to lead
season,
him.
like Matt
Yeah,
Ryan in 28. Wait, was it 2018 or 2017? I forget which season that was. I forget. It's the 2083 year. That's
let
all
me
I know.
let me ask you this because this might be a fun little question as well. So, especially with who you are, being a Tom Brady fan,
Yeah.
do you think Tom Brady stays in the league for another 4 years?
Ooh, I would love to say yes, and
Realistically, though,
I would
realistically,
love to see it. The Realistically, if he just has a good O line, yeah, sure.
dude, that'd be
Honest,
wild.
honestly, if he has a good O line and he still feels like he's being competitive, yeah, I don't see him leaving. I don't think he's gonna burn out like a Brett Favre type where he just retires and then comes back and then it's
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh,
definitely not. I think Tom Brady has a little bit too much pride for that, I think, to just like fizzle out of the league. I don't think he
mm,
wants that to happen to him. I think he wants to go out on top. Um, but like 4 years ago, who would say that Tom Brady plays another 4 years? You get
Tom
me?
Brady.
Tom Brady only, probably. So, but I asked that question because let's say Tom Brady retires in 2 years, 2 years into this Dak Prescott deal,
Okay.
right?
Mm,
And let's say Russell Wilson leaves the division because that's also in the cards right now. After that 2 year gap where all
You
these
mean the
pieces move,
conference?
huh?
You mean the conference? You said division. You mean conference?
Yes, conference. Thank you. Yeah, he moves out of the NFC conference, leaves the Seahawks, goes to somewhere in the AFC. Maybe he goes to the Dolphins. Shout out to Steven. Maybe he goes to the Dolphins. So let's say that happens.
Mm.
Does that help Dak Prescott? He still has to go through Aaron Rodgers. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers is still even there in 4 years as
Ooh.
well? So he's maybe going up against who's
It would
there?
go. It would be Stafford, Kyler Murray.
God, is Stafford going to be there in 4 years? He's going to be like 39.
Maybe if
This is
Stafford
really
doesn't.
putting into
Yeah,
perspective the league right now for me.
it is because there's a lot of young guys that are coming up
A
right
lot of
now.
young, there's a lot of old. There's not a lot in between.
Exactly.
It's probably him and God, I don't want to miss somebody. That's what I'm scared of right now, that I miss a name because there's him, Kyler Murray.
So you
Trying to think of
have
the divisions.
Panthers don't have anybody.
No, Teddy B isn't gonna.
Exactly.
It's not a better quarterback.
The Vikings are still the same team.
Kirk
Um,
Cousins, I guess. I guess he makes it that far. He could.
Bears.
The
It's
Bears, who knows who the Bears get?
exactly.
I don't think Nick Foles pulls anything off in the next 4 years. So it seems like unless some crazy rookie comes out or we're just missing somebody entirely that we should obviously remember, that people will definitely remind us in the comments, as they should.
Yes.
Dak Prescott's window would be pretty much after a few guys retire, is what it
Mm.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Maybe after like 2 years is when this window really opens up for them. And I don't think I have any more questions for us. This is a tough division to talk about, folks. Chad, is there anything else that you wanna add to this?
I would say, if anything, I'm gonna add, it would be that even though they were the worst division this past year, I think maybe they'll be second to last or second to worst division in
I,
this
I I
upcoming
can get
season.
on board with that. I can definitely get on board with that. I think even if they end up being the worst division again, I think it won't be as clear as day at least.
Yeah.
I think
God.
I think you'll be able to look at them and be like, you know what? They might be trash, but
Yeah.
they're trash just like that division.
Yes.
I feel like that's how it would probably go down. I think that's how it definitely go down. The NFL is really competitive. It's a really great time to be a fan of the NFL. A bunch of great players, young players coming up. It's just awesome. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you like this type of content, like and subscribe. We post weekly videos. We're gonna start posting basketball videos. Actually, there should be a basketball video up. So if you like basketball content, check it out. Like and subscribe. We'll put a link somewhere so you can check it out. Also follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We're on there. We're gonna put the @ in the description, so definitely check us out there. And hope you guys enjoyed. We all have a good day. Thank you, Chaya, for joining me. Thank you, Steven, or thank you, not Steven, rather, for also being here. Appreciate
Mhm.
you taking the time out of your day to be here as well.
What a great character.
Great guy. Such a great conversationalist. But yeah, hope you all have a great day. Bye.